What's the worst thing you've ever had to clean up? I hosted a huge New Year's party at an Airbnb and the multi-colored gallons of vomit scared my eyes and made me forever unclean. A caretaker at kindergarten realized that the freezer wasn't on, someone must have accidentally turned it off somehow. They waited, and waited, and waited until they could wait no more. A week had passed when they remembered. An NBSP. Suffice to say, the food was beyond gone and the smell was sickening. The kitchen was quarantined and no children were allowed in until I had finished. While underwater you can't escape that smell of shit. I worked at a Walmart when I was 19. I was a cart pusher. There have been occasions where people leave a bunch of trash in their carts, but that's kind of expected honestly. What wasn't expected was this woman who left her baby's leaky diapers in the cart in the middle of July, where it hits around 100 in the parking lots. When I told my supervisor about it, I was only told, "Why are you telling me? Grab gloves and bring it to the back of the store and wash it quickly." And #X200B. Customers can be such shitty people, or at the least have shitty children. A friend's brains after he applied a shotgun to them. Baby puke at Red Robin. The kid was stuffed with the kids' menu spaghetti that comes straight out of a bag. As I was cleaning it, the baby just continued to throw up, increasing my disgusting workload. Not disgusting, just difficult. And #X200B. My dad bought me a smoothie and I dropped it on the carpet and it literally would not go away. Diarrhea, liquid poop. One of my cats was orphaned at too young of an age, so in order for him to poop I had to rub his belly with a warm washcloth. He often shot liquid poops in my direction, and all over the place. A roommate had a bleeding peptic ulcer, and unfortunately did not make it to the toilet in time to throw up. The profuse blood trail from her bedroom to the bathroom was an absolute horror to discover when I got home from taking her to emergency department. I don't know how professional cleaners handle it. I caught my roommate's dog eating a dead raccoon. It smelled terrible, but it smelled worse when it came back up later in our living room. Worked at a Pizza Hut as a teenager. Some guy fished out a poo and put it in the liquid soap dispenser. The worst part was the realization that he couldn't wash his hands after doing this. I wanna switch it up from bodily fluids. I used to work at a supermarket, and one day, when me and the rest of the bag boys were bored, we were exploring the stockroom when we found a jar of mayonnaise tucked back in a hidden corner. It was expired by a year and a half. The ingredients had separated so that it looked kinda like a brain floating in a jar of dehydrated urine. I called one of the other guys back, said, "Check this out," and right as he rounded the corner, the jar slipped out of my hands and shattered, spraying him with the mayo. The stench was overwhelming, like what people describe in Skunkapay sightings. It's what I imagined the stink bomb from Ed, and Eddie must have smelt like. The guy that got sprayed immediately ran to the bathroom and started vomiting, while the rest of us scattered through the store. I eventually had to come back and mop up the putrid mess with a wet dish rag wrapped around my face. Grease trap. I've cleaned up plenty of shit in my years of customer service, but cleaning out a clogged grease trap was the absolute worst. Puke. I was a groundskeeper assigned to the area by the roller coaster exit at Six Flags. One load of vomit after another, cooking away on the searing hot asphalt in the summer sun. Cleaning the latest John was a relief. My browser's history. I worked for an electronics store in the warehouse. Turns out the warehouse guys had to clean the bathrooms too. We got paged to clean the women's room, which never happened unless it was an emergency. I pulled the short straw, metaphorically, and went to the bathroom. Someone had shit and perioded all over the stall. It was on the walls, the floor, and was starting to leak into other stalls. I refused to do it, until they threatened to fire me. I went home sick after that. Ask a parent, we've got horror stories. You ever seen shit go from an ass to the middle of the shoulder blades? No. Lucky you. I used to work at a pig farm and we accidentally got a backhoe stuck in an old mass pig grave. Pretty big mess. Poop all over the bathroom. I told my manager, she and another worker told me to clean it up. Me being about 3 months into this job, I listened and did it. I later learned that the manager is supposed to do it, not a part-timer, so I guess she didn't want to do it and made the new person who didn't know any better do it. I almost threw up. I was lowered into a water filtration plant's shit tank. About 3 feet of shit and used condoms. I got a $500 bonus that day. We'll never do it again. This did not happen to me. This is a second-hand story. My mother dated a guy that worked on the tarmac at the airport. One of his job duties was helping get planes ready for their next takeoff. Things like emptying the septic tanks. Poor guy. On at least 2 occasions I know of, there was a valve malfunction or something, resulting in the contents pouring out of the plane, all over him. TLDR, guy the first knew cleaned up other people's waste off of
Rotten
himself.
maggot-infested
Black apple sauce stuck in a van. My best friend's dad shot himself in the face. He did it in the bedroom, and the closet door was wide open. When the coroner came in, he told us that they would send out a crew first thing in the morning to take away and incinerate anything that was biohazardous, but pulled me aside and said that once they all left, he would pretend not to notice if someone not related to the deceased goes in and salvages what they can for best friend's mom, because nearly all of her clothes would have been taken away. And #X200B. So myself and a family friend went in the dead of night and salvaged what we could, including the original Thomas Kincaid painting that was above their bed, and their wedding album which was on the side table, as well as whatever clothes that we thought we could save. And #X200B. TLDR brains. I came home after running some errands and had found that Roomba had spread my dog's diarrhea literally to every corner of my house. I had to mop up all the diarrhea and then spend several days drying out the Roomba so I could clean out the chunks of crap out from the wheels, filter, and brushes. I'll never leave Roomba on while I'm out of the house ever again. My sister is wheelchair bound and has a hard time getting around and doing simple tasks like going to the bathroom. If it's urgent, she sometimes can't make it. One time she got the flu while my parents were out of town. She tried her hardest to get to the bathroom on time but didn't quite make it and puked all over the toilet, the floor and the wall. Since I was staying with her while my parents were out, she tried to clean it up herself, but fell out of her wheelchair into the puke. I felt so bad for her and she felt so bad for me. For reference, I've had to clean severe burn wounds and a tracheotomy tube, and none of that is as bad as the time a girl for wasted came to the movie theater that I managed and threw up in the trash bin. That was connected to the wall. It was a square bin. Puke everywhere. On the wall. On the bin. In the bin, that we had to scoop out because she must have pushed the bag down in the process. On the floor. Asterisk everywhere asterisk. My dog had a little ball of fat on her side, one morning it popped. I have a friend who is the most discombobulated, clumsy drunk I know, but me and my roommates still like him, so we let him drink and crash at our place. But one time he was laying on the couch and threw up what felt like a gallon of half-liquid, half-chunky vomit. We were all like fuck, but then he just rolled off the couch and started rolling around and flopping like a fish on his own vomit to an absolutely repulsive effect. My life. My act. I was an unproductive asshole for the longest time. I have 2 great ones for this. First one, it's the final day of the summer vacation. So my mum starts preparing lunch for me and my sister. We were about 12 years old. Not as if I make my lunch myself now, I am 15 lol, but she could not find my sister's, I don't know the word in English, box that you use to put your food in. My mom then found her box to put food in her bag to put, your school books in. And the box had been there for more than 2 months. There were still 2 sandwiches in it. The second one, I found a banana in my bag. It was black and stunky a lot. So many things. It had been there for a couple of months. Watch out, here I come. Dog crap. Not biological in nature, but I rather clean vomit before grease from a car, engine, transmission, suspension, underbody. I hate it. I hate what it does to your skin. I hate how it sticks to the tools. I hate that you cannot send it to the drain because it's a huge pollutant. I love working with cars, but that is a huge asterisk right there. Got a call from one of my staff that someone threw up in the toilets. Couldn't get any of them to clean it up, so I went to do it. Vomit up the cubicle wall, cubicle door, all over the floor. I used to clean a college bar on Saturday and Sunday mornings. Lots of vomit. The bathrooms were a nightmare. Ladies' bathroom was the worst. Fun time. My cat had diarrhea, didn't make it to the litter box, slipped in it and his side was all covered in poop. At least he was a good patient boy as I washed him and let me snuggle him in a blanket after. Months-old rotten meat from a refrigerator. The smell was awful. I once cleaned up vomit with a McDonald's cup and my bare hands, after attend a birthday party. Was my first time getting drunk as well. My Great Dane ate her poop, then vomited it. I had to stop her from eating it again. I used to be a school custodian and computer classrooms after a substitute was in charge for the day were always the worst. By end of day, there were more chips on the floor than in the motherboards. U.S. Army vet here. Worst was a suicide bomber at an Iraqi police checkpoint in Ramadi. 4 dead bodies pretty ripped up, then the bomber himself. He had the bomb on a bicycle, so his torso was gone from below his belly button area. When we picked him up by the arms, chunks of organs fell out. Shoveled the big pieces up and went back to work.